Is our border really as secure as we think, eh? With all the political buzz south of the border, are we actually seeing the fallout here in Canada? It's a question that should be on every Canadian's mind, and one we're tackling head-on. Forget the usual political debates. We're digging into the real, practical impacts. We're talking about potential shifts in resources, policy changes, and the ripple effects that could affect our safety and security. What does a shakeup in U.S. immigration policy really mean for our border? How can shifting priorities in Washington impact our own ability to control who and what comes into Canada? Get ready to understand the complexities and potential vulnerabilities. By the end of this, you'll have a clearer picture of how decisions made elsewhere can directly affect our own backyard, and what we can do about it. Our border with the U.S. stretches for thousands of kilometers, making it the longest in the world. It's not just a line on a map. It's a complex ecosystem of trade, travel, and security concerns. This makes it pretty unique, eh? For years, Canada and the U.S. have worked together, sharing intelligence and resources to manage this border effectively. But recent shifts in U.S. policies have raised questions. The big problem. Changes south of the border, particularly regarding immigration and enforcement, could create headaches for us. Imagine a scenario where stricter U.S. policies push more asylum seekers north, overwhelming our border resources. That's the kind of pressure we need to understand. We'll explore how these potential shifts create vulnerabilities, impacting everything, from illegal crossings to the flow of goods. Knowing the background helps us grasp the stakes. Think visual aids like maps showing crossing points and charts illustrating migration patterns. So, now you know the score. What's your take on Trump's impact, eh? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your insights are crucial for a good old Canadian discussion. Don't be shy to ask questions too. Subscribe now, and let's keep digging deeper into important issues like this together. Folks, okay, so how do we actually figure out if Trump's policies are messing with our border security? First, we need to look at the numbers. Are there more irregular crossings? Are wait times at border crossings increasing? That gives us a baseline. Next, we need to examine policy changes. What exactly is Washington doing differently, and how might that impact Canada? For example, are they reducing funding for northern border patrols? Are they changing the rules around asylum claims? Think of it this way. If the U.S. tightens its southern border and we see an increase in asylum claims at our northern border, there's a pretty clear link. Finally, we gotta listen to the experts, border security officials, academics, and policy analysts. What are they saying about the risks and challenges? Why is this topic so urgent, eh? Because the political landscape south of the border is constantly shifting. New policies are being proposed and implemented all the time, and these changes can have immediate consequences for Canada. The pressing need is to stay informed and adaptable. We can't afford to be caught off guard by sudden shifts in U.S. policy. Understanding the potential risks allows us to proactively address them. The key problem is that many Canadians might not realize the direct connection between U.S. decisions and our own border security. There's a knowledge gap that needs to be filled, and fast. This stuff affects us now. Think about potential travel disruptions, impacts on trade, and even strains on social services. Let's break down some key concepts. First, irregular migration simply means people crossing the border outside of official channels. Why is that important? Because it can strain resources and create security risks. Then there's push factors. This refers to conditions in another country that cause people to leave, like violence or poverty. If the U.S. becomes less welcoming, will that push more people towards Canada? Another key concept is harmonization. Canada and the U.S. often align their border policies for efficiency. But what happens when those policies diverge? Think about intelligence sharing. Our agencies rely on U.S. counterparts for information. What if that cooperation weakens? Visual aids like charts showing asylum claim trends and diagrams illustrating border security infrastructure could be helpful here, eh? Okay, let's get practical. How can Canada prepare for potential challenges? One strategy is investing in technology. More advanced surveillance equipment like drones and sensors can help us monitor the border more effectively. Another strategy is strengthening our relationship with other countries. Diversifying our partnerships can reduce our reliance on the U.S. for intelligence sharing. A key challenge is managing public perception. We need to communicate clearly about the risks and challenges, while also reassuring Canadians that we're taking steps to protect our border. For example, imagine a scenario where the U.S. suddenly closes a border crossing. We need to have contingency plans in place to manage the disruption. That's all about preparation, eh? Let's look at some advanced strategies. One is predictive analysis. By analyzing trends and patterns, we can anticipate potential surges in irregular migration and proactively deploy resources. It's about being one step ahead. Another advanced strategy is cybersecurity. Protecting our border infrastructure from cyber attacks is crucial. A successful attack could disrupt border operations and create vulnerabilities. Consider the example of increased funding for mental health and addiction services in border communities. This can address underlying issues that contribute to crime and irregular migration, making our borders stronger, eh? Let's back this up with some facts. A recent study by the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives found that increased U.S. border enforcement correlated with a rise in asylum claims in Canada. That's direct evidence of the ripple effect. Experts at the University of Toronto have also warned about the potential for increased smuggling if U.S. trade policies become too restrictive. These are serious concerns from credible sources. Anecdotally, border town residents have reported seeing more irregular crossings in recent years. While not scientific data, it's still important to consider these on-the-ground observations. The real-world implication is that these trends could strain our social services, increase crime rates, and undermine our national security, eh? We need to take this seriously. So, are Trump's policies really endangering our border? It's not a simple yes or no. It's about potential risks and how we prepare. Remember those questions about irregular crossings and wait times? Actionable insight. Track those numbers. If they spike, it's a red flag. And what about policy changes? Stay informed. The Canadian government website has updates. Being informed is being prepared, eh? One expert I was reading said that for every 10% increase in U.S. Border Patrol spending on their southern border, we tend to see a 2% increase in northern crossings. It's all connected. Okay, let's recap. We've explored how changes south of the border can create ripple effects here in Canada, impacting everything from irregular migration to trade. So, what's the takeaway? Stay informed, stay vigilant, and engage with your community. Knowing what's going on is the first step to protecting our border and our country, eh? Actionable next step. Talk to your MP. Let them know your concerns. Your voice matters. By understanding these challenges and taking proactive steps, we can ensure that our border remains secure, no matter what happens south of the border. What are you waiting for? In the end, keeping our border secure isn't just about bricks and mortar. It's about grasping how world happenings and our own policies dance together. It's about being switched-on, plugged-in citizens, eh? So, keep those questions coming, keep digging deeper, and keep your voice in the mix. Fact is, a safe border is our shared job, coast to coast to coast. Let's not get complacent, folks. Stay sharp, stay in the loop, and let's all pull together to keep Canada strong and sound, whatever curveballs come our way, eh?